Saturday morning sees Daddy watching the horse racing. Nobody watches horse racing like Daddy. He doesn't just watch, he is in there at the racetrack, peering over the fences, checking the fetlocks, inhaling the scent of the grass and soaking up the air of anticipation. When the gates open, it's like he's on an actual horse, especially if he's betting on one. If Mummy's religion is church, then Daddy's is horse racing. He likes to get himself nice and comfy before the start. He sits sprawled out on the sofa with a few bottles of Mackerson Stout and a pack of Capstan Full Strength, all within arm's reach. Daddy is the only person Mercy has ever seen smoke and drink at the same time.
Okay, Marcia, it's such a magnificent occasion whenever I'm sharing the stage with you, and you've been on such an extraordinary journey from beginning to craft the Mercy Step. Maybe how long ago was it that you started?
I've been working on it on and off for about 2 decades, all my life. But seriously, I started in 2019 when I went to Cultureword. It's now called Cultureword, that Peter ran. So May 2019, I kind of turned up with my first short stories, and Peter was like, "I think you've got something there," and I'm like, "No, it's just a couple of short stories," and it just gradually built up over the years.
And so, I'm going to use a horse racing analogy for reasons that may become obvious later. But were there any other works in the running before the Mercy Step emerged as the one that you wanted to sort of put your weight behind?
Yeah, because I found it so hard to write that I often just gave up. I can't remember how many times I gave up, but I'd just stop and write a completely different novel. And then I went back to it, and then I just thought, no, this is too depressing, and wrote another completely different novel. And it was one of those other novels that got me signed with an agent. And while she was editing it, I said, "Oh, by the way, I've got this thing." Sorry, I've just seen another friend. I said, "Oh, I've got this thing. It's only a few chapters," so I sent it to her. And she messaged me 20 minutes later saying, "I'm on a train, I've got time, send me the rest." And you know the point where you go, there isn't much rest? So I'd only written about 6 chapters, and she said, "We need to talk." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm in trouble." And she said, "No, I think this should be your debut novel." And I'm like, "Are you mad? I haven't even finished it. Could you please work on the one that you've already got that I finished?" And she basically talked me into finishing it. And we met online 6th of June 2023. So it took me 7-8 years to write the first 20,000 words. But after she put the fear of God into me, I wrote the other 60,000 words by the end of that month. So June 23, most of it was written. And it was like it'd been marinating for decades. And I was like, in fact, I don't type, I dictate. If anyone knows Alexander Park, I walk around the park and I just talk to the park. So there's me, the phone, the dog, walking around the park, and I'm just going non-stop. Then I get home and I listen back to it, and it's like, "No, that's my dog. Sorry, no, sit." That's not part of the novel, but just try and make sense of it. So it was really weird. It took ages, and then suddenly it came all at once.
I noticed it's positioned as a novel, and it's also a memoir. How did you navigate those two things? At what point did you think, okay, let me stick to the facts? And at what point did you think, okay, let me imagine what it might have been? How much of it was just readily available from your memory, if you like?
That's a really good question, and in theory there's a simple answer, but in practice there isn't. Because there were things that I could remember, but I couldn't remember the detail. So I was doing a what if. What if I could remember what it was like to be born? Oh, I know, this must be what it's like. So if you've read it, you'll know it starts before she's born, and she's basically narrating her own birth and complaining about the cramped conditions. And a lot of it was starting from something that really happened and then just going off on a tangent. And it was almost like a seance. It's like, is there anybody there? And then you'd find something and, oh yeah, I'll write that. So all the major plot points in the book really happened. But like Eric Morgan says, not necessarily in that order. And I'd tweak it.
I remember one of the words that was key for me in reading The Mercy Step was the word indignant. Mercy's often indignant. What's going on? Could you explore that a little bit for me? Where did you get? Where did you find that mood? It's such a lovely and strange position for a child to take.
I think it was Mercy isn't me, but she's very, very close to me. So I get other people to tell me what they knew about me. And I remember someone saying, like, you were born old. You were always an adult. And I always had this strong sense of justice, and I was outraged about things in the world. And I think that's what I took to Mercy, especially when she was little. And I don't know if I should admit this, because it's kind of ruining the literary atmosphere, but Stewie from Family Guy. And I thought, what if we had a sentient baby? And Mercy is basically an adult in a child's body, and she's really annoyed because she can't walk yet and she can't talk yet, and she's like, this is not a very good car, I can't drive it. And that's Mercy. She's never really had a childhood. She was basically born an adult.
There are a lot of the beauty of the book is the fact that you tell us the story through Mercy's eyes, and she's from birth through 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 11, and of course irony's the idea that we the readers know something that the character doesn't, and so what I love about that dynamic is that we can decode from the adult perspective that something going on that is bigger than what Mercy's picking up, sharp though she is. And then every so often the decoding comes into Mercy's presence, if you like. She realises something that we the reader have realised way back. But moving to the conflict in the novel, which you've outlined in a little way, the mother and father are not the most harmonious of couples. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement, yes.
What do you think, and this is just a speculation, what do you think were the difficulties in describing the more difficult aspects, the kind of more violent, domestic violent aspects of that relationship? How did you go about it?
Well, the honest answer is I cried. I'd walk around the park with the dog and I'd start dictating, and I'd just stop, sit on a park bench, have a bit of a cry, and then I'd get up and I could write after I'd had a cry. And I realised I was, what's the term when you bring all the feelings up?
Externalising it.
Yeah. So basically, is this therapy? And I'm like, you mean you can sell therapy? It's like, in some ways, you think I had a shit childhood, but I can monetise it. So, it's like, well, it's taken a while. So I would just write down what happened. And at times I'd be shaking and I'd be sweating, and I couldn't type because my palms were sweating. And I thought, I'm onto something now. But that's why it took so long to write, because you'd have to stop and calm down, and the dog would be like that, and I'd be like, I'm all right, and then off again. But I think growing up in an environment where there is serious domestic violence, it just leaves you on edge. And I think, sadly, that has partly, it's almost delayed arrested development, that's it. So that's probably why it's taken me so long to write the novel. But having written it, it's probably why it's so good, because I can get back in there. And I can say to Mercy the child, it's okay, you got out alive, I will go back with you, let's hold hands. When a child's scared, you go, but I'm here, I'll take care of you. You just tell me the story and I'll write it down. So even though Mercy is basically my younger self, we're two different people, and I'm interviewing her. The hardest bit to write, by a long shot, was the chapter where the father is threatening to kill Mercy and her mother, because it really happened. That was like scraping out my insides with a rusty spoon and just putting it on the page. That was a tough one.
It was the hardest to read as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. I mean,
with my breath held.
That was, so that the chapters where there is abuse, they are somebody read it and said, oh, when Mercy's in a fugue state. And I thought, what do you mean a fugue state? And it's that sense of when children have more than they can bear, they kind of leave their bodies and go off. And I thought, oh, that's fine. But I remember seeing a psychiatrist who said, no, sometimes you can't get back in, and that's what causes a split personality when you've gone off, because you can't bear what's happening. And that was very, very difficult to write, because when your dad stands over you with a machete going, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going, I dare you. And I remember thinking, I'm going to literally stared him down, and I thought, you haven't got the courage. And I was 10, I thought, you haven't got the courage, you're not going to do it. And he didn't. But at the time, you're not sure. And I remember, and I'm, it's lots of personal stuff now, but I remember talking to a psychologist who said that incident alone could give you PTSD. I'm like, I didn't realise. So I always knew my childhood was not normal. What I didn't know was how far it was from normal and what the impact of that is on a child. So I'm very good at persisting and keeping going and fighting and non-stop, but that comes at a price. And writing the novel made me realise what the price was. And the price was not having a childhood. And you need to have a childhood. And I didn't really have one because I was forever trying to protect her from him. And even now, when I talk to my mum about it, she said, if you weren't there, he would have killed me. And I always thought, I was your protector. And I thought, but that wasn't my job. And that's what I was trying to get back into, to that sense of, I'm about to die. And I remember thinking, it's not the dying that bothers me, but will it hurt? And it's that aspect of it. Like, children shouldn't have to worry about when their father is going to kill them. And I think that's why I've kind of got a gallows sense of humour, because you kind of been there, you've been through the fire, and I came out alive, but not necessarily unscathed.
10 books is a great ambition. Have you thought about what the next book might be?
Probably, because I've spoken to quite a few book groups, either in person or online, and I spoke to one book group online. It was 50 women. They're all women of Caribbean heritage, but they were all over the world, and they were like, we want Mercy too! When are you going to write it? And the moderator had to say, give her a chance. And they were demanding a second book with menaces. And I'm like, well, I think I better write a second book then. But it was lovely. I've never had that interaction with people.
Yeah, it's like you got fans, the Mercy fans.
Because up until I went to a book group, people hadn't read the book before. It was an event like this where most people haven't read it.
Yeah.
So to speak to people who have read it, because somebody said it's supposed to be a coming of age book, but she never comes of age. It finishes when she's 11. And I'm like, oh, all right then. And in fact, my dad died when I was 14, but I couldn't be bothered to write the next 3 years. I just thought, let's just cut it at 11. I've had enough now. But it does mean I've got more to write in the next one. So there almost certainly will be another one.
Please.
Quickly, please. I'll do my best.
I'm curious from a writing perspective that as you move through the gears, as you move through the ages of the child, the way in which you use language can change, because you're right, the voice of a 4-year-old may not be the same as the voice of the 6-year-old, may not be the same as the voice of 11. There's a slow development in the language. So when you get to 11 and you move forward maybe up to, I don't know whether you're going to do it 1 year at a time, so you've got 9 verses worked out, but technically, in terms of technique, what do you think will change for Mercy? And also, just in terms of the lower sly revenge on the editors, is there anything you're thinking of bringing back into the second Mercy?
Oh, I've already brought one of them back. the chapter that they chucked out is coming back as a dream. You try and take that out now. Yeah. I don't know. I think I can do it, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I'm just. It's almost like you just sort of get into a seance mode and then just write, and it's almost like afterwards you go, oh, let's see what we've got. It's like panning for gold, and then you find a bit and you think, okay, I'll write a bit more of that.
Well, I have every confidence that Mercy will emerge brilliantly.
Mercy will write again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, one quick question. question. Have you ever revisited the house that you grew up in, gone back?
Yes, but only about a year ago.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was walking past and I was kind of looking, and a woman up and said, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I said, I used to live here. And she invited me in, we had a cup of tea, I looked around it, and it was so much smaller.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
And I'm like, we used to slide down that banister, and
I just wondered what memories did it trigger up memories that you buried?
No, because I think I've excavated
You've got
most
through
of them. in the book.
Yeah, I brought them out
Yeah.
of the book, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I did go back.
All right, let's give it up for Marcia Hutchinson. I'm a frustrated film director, so I have to just walk off. Thanks. That was it. What was the hardest part to write in your view?
Oh, well, I don't want to do any spoilers, but some of the domestic abuse chapters were really difficult because it's not an autobiography, but it is semi-autobiographical. So I'll call it the main points, the stuff that really happened. And a lot of the way the novel is written is, I can't remember exactly how I reacted at the time, but if I could go back, what would I do now? So Mercy isn't me, but she's very close to me. But it's like taking a child back to a difficult memory and saying, it's okay, I'm here with you. You will get through this. And also Mercy's a lot more confident than I was at that age. So it's almost like going back and rewriting history. You know, you're thinking, I should have said. And it's like, off you go, say it.
I wanted to reveal a little bit about your journey as a writer. Had you written anything or been involved in publishing or writing prior?
Yeah, so when I left uni, I was, I thought I was the next great hope. And me and a friend, we'd write and we'd meet up. And this went on and off through our 20s. And then got married, had kids, put away childish things. You kind of think, oh, when I grow up, I want to be a footballer. And then you grow up and you think, yeah, I can't be a footballer anymore. The lovely thing about writing is you can pick it up again at any stage. So I set up an educational publishing company called Primary Colours, and it was very much about what they now call decolonising the curriculum, but back then it wasn't called that. I just wanted to see, more black children in children's books because there were so few. So I did that for about 15 years. Then my kids grew up, left home, and it was kind of when the pandemic happened. The same friend that I used to write with, she said, shall we write again? We could meet on Zoom every day. And it was like we had pressed pause a quarter of a century ago, and play. And we just carried on where we left off. And every day, because I live alone, so every day it was like, well, I want to see my friends, so I'll just write. And in some ways I had a good pandemic, so I didn't know anyone close to me who died, so I was just, there was nothing else to do but just write.
So it suggests to me some of the precarity, the fact that you make it through childhood is an achievement in itself for
Oh, you look so worried.
That's not true, is it?
It's true, but I wasn't there.
Oh.
My sister was there, and she came, and she's never really got over it. And it was hearing someone else's story, and it almost feels like I was there. And I thought, I'm going to write.
Died, did she?
Yes, she did.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It was like that back then. People died in...
I did used to jump middies and get really annoyed when someone actually had a car park.
Because you couldn't
To get down.
I lived in Holland Road.
Eh?
I lived in Holland Road for a little while.
Did you?
Just for a little while.
Oh my God. Oh, it's so good doing this in Bradford.
We said, well, we can just open it up, I think.
Yes, we
for
are.
questions. I don't know if I'll do like an organiser or what to ask my crown or if you just want to follow. I can just hand them out myself, innit? Wow. If you need it at all. But has anyone got any questions for Martha?
My question was around memory and your point specifically about how the recalling of a memory can sometimes change a memory. And I often find that when I look at photographs, I can't remember whether I can remember the memory or whether I just remember the photograph. So my question is, was there any use of photographs in your writing?
Not really. No, I think my memories tend to be audio memories. So, for instance, that chapter, I remember my sister telling me what had happened. And in some ways, that was more visual than seeing it, because you could hear her voice and talking about what's happened, and Tracy died. And reading that chapter, I thought I was there. I know I wasn't. I know I didn't see it. But what you were talking about, memories change. I've almost written myself into the picture.
What you need.
I learned to write quickly because I didn't do shorthand, and we had to sit in court and transcribe everything that happened. So I learned to write really quickly, and I think the other advantage is understanding arguments and being able to distill arguments. But I never really wanted to be a lawyer. I just couldn't. I couldn't think of what else to do. So I went to Bellevue Girls' School. And oh my God!
When you say your pills, you were bound to go to Bellevue from Orange Hill.
So
It was a good school.
it was a good school, and I remember wanting to.
I'm older than you.
Are you? How old are you?
16, yeah, 68.
Oh right, okay, so before my time, but not much. So I'm 63.
Alright, just come with me because I'm 58.
Come to
Different schools.
Yes, I went to Bellevue Girls, and then I wanted to study law. And after I got my A levels, because I got 4 A's, I went back and I said, I want to go to Oxford. And I remember Mrs. Langrish. Yeah. Deputy head. Yeah, and she said, "Why?" I'm like, "Because it's there." And at first they were like, "Don't be daft," because no one from Bellevue had ever gone to Oxford. And once it sank in that I really wanted to do this, they pulled out all the stops to help me. They were lovely.
She was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And I remember you do an entrance exam, and then you have to go down for an interview. And I had no money, and if you've read The Mercy Step, my mum had gone off doing something religious, so I didn't know where she was. The Lord would send her, and she'd just go. And I remember going back to school, because people say they couldn't afford to go to university. I literally had no money to go for my interview. And I went back to school, and I said to Mrs. Langrish, "I've got my Oxford interview tomorrow, and I don't have any money." And she said, "You wait there, Marcia." And she went to the staff room, and they had a whip round. And she came back with a £5, which in 1981 was a lot of money. And that's how I went to my university interview. She was absolutely amazing. She found someone to teach me for the entrance exam, because you have to do an entrance exam. And it wasn't until maybe about 8 years ago they asked me to come back and talk. They said, "No one's been since you." So it was me and a girl called Mandy who went in 1981. That's it.
For me, the fascination is that, I've been doing my job, working with writers, primarily in Manchester, but across the country sometimes. And with some writers, you work hard to get them to a place where they can be publishable. With Marcia, she just turned up every week and said, "Look, I've just written this chapter." And it's like, perfect. And she's like, "What can I say?" Well, that's it. Nothing more. And that's the curiosity for me. And I don't know if it's even answerable, is how you arrive at that state. I mean, I could, without, I won't name names, I'm too professional to do that, but, I've probably in my lifetime, I've worked with probably 300 writers. And I would say, and when I say writers, poets as well as fiction writers, and I would say that Marcia's in a group of 3, 4, 5 over those 30 years where they just turn up, and you're like, "Oh my goodness, all I've got to do is steer her in the right direction, and we're home, we'll get it done."
But I didn't believe you. I just thought, he says this to everyone. "Oh, you're a really good writer." I thought, he fancies me. No. But gradually I thought, he means it. It took other people to believe in me before I believed in myself. Because you just don't think in your mid-50s you can just write a novel and it'll be good and it'll get shortlisted and longlisted and a window display in Waterstones. God, we've just finished at Waterstones, and I don't know why I'm shaking. For some reason I shake afterwards, not before. And it was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But I've got the collywobbles.
You were brilliant. You absolutely knocked it out of the park. What a great reading you did,
They were so moved by what you read, and they were totally with you. And they bought so many books. I think some of them bought two.
Yeah.
Rather than one.